Alright, this is my attempt at making a Verity guide encounter for Salvation's Edge raid. This is the dumbed down version I explain in my head to myself so I can understand the encounter a little bit better. I'm sorry for the light screen, but we're gonna have to make it work. So, Verity encounter is possibly the hardest for first timers to understand in Salvation's Edge raid. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna kind of dumb it down as much as I can, at least, to make it as simple as possibly can. And I'm gonna take both different segments of it to do both dissection and both the dark room, quote unquote. Now, the way this works is all 6 people go inside the room. Let me find. Just write it down. It doesn't really matter. Let's go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We are going to get to these in a minute. These are the statues of all the fire team when you come in the room the first time. Now, they're going to be at the entrance. There will be a big glass, broken, cracked window shit coming over here. And then over here, we're going to have 3 other statues. Let me change that back to... Let me change it. Actually, let me do it color-coded so it would make a little bit more sense. So we're going to do this. Make a little statue. I'm not going to be making too many... I'm not going to make it too beautiful or anything because I am trying to make a point. Okay. And then we're going to make a little blue guy. This is the best way I can explain it because this is how I got it. And it took me, like, my brain is just functioning like a toddler. I apologize for the, just really bad drawing skills. And then we're going to make a green guy. Green guy is going to be on this side. Probably should have pre-made this, but whatever. Green guy has one shorter leg than the other. Now, the way this encounter works is there are obviously 6 people in the fire team. And then 3 random people will be teleported into their own solo instances of the room, okay? So, say, it doesn't really matter for the statues, but say player number 1 gets teleported. Hold on, let me make it work even better. Player number 1, 3, and 5, doesn't really matter who. Let's call them Jim, John, with no age, because whatever, and Alex. Let's go Alex, I guess. I don't freaking know. I'm just making something up. So Jim, John, and Alex are 3 of the fire team members that get sent into separate instances. I'm going to repeat that. Separate instances of the same room. So they all see the same room, but their own instance. Now, Jim goes in, and he looks for his statue that looks like him, and sees what shape it's holding. So say Jim is holding a triangle. And then let's say John sees a square. Let's go with a square. John sees a square. And then Alex sees a circle. Once we have this, once we know this, the callout will be made to let everybody in the fire team know what shape is where. In this case, it's going to be T. Hold on, let me change the color. T for triangle, square for square, S for square, and C for circle. So they're going to be writing down in the chat, down here, TCS. Now, there is the calculator that everybody is aware of. And if you're not, then I'll send it. I'll add it to the description here. That if you just input this in the calculator, it kind of gives you the shapes that you need to do for the dissection. But that's for the dissection. We'll get there. We're not getting to the dissection yet. But remember that this is the callout that we got from the inside rooms. Now, next step. There will be 2 knights in each of the rooms, in each of the solo instances. Alex is going to have 2 knights, John is going to have 2 knights, Jim is going to have 2 knights. As soon as Jim kills his knight, now this is going to be done by all 3 of them simultaneously. They're going to do their own instance of the thing. So Jim is going to kill his knights, and his knights are going to drop a. Let's go with that. They're going to be drop a square, and then the other knight is going to drop triangle. This is Jim right now. Let's make it like a. This is Jim's instance now. This is what the Jim's knights drop. Okay. So Jim, the goal is to hoard up the shapes that match the one you are holding. Your statue is holding. That's the first step. So we're gonna have Jim kill the knights, and as it kills the knights, he sees one of them. Oh, it already has the triangle, so I don't need to do anything with this. But I have a square. I do not need a square. So what does Jim do? Jim picks up the buff, the little black-orange buff on the floor. That's the square shape. And deposits it to the statue holding the square, which in this case is John. Okay? It says, John, you are the square. Hoard on the squares. We're going to get to dividing them later. While he does that, John will be doing the same thing. John kills his knight, gets 1 square, and say he gets 1 circle on the other knight. That means, okay, I don't need to touch the square because that's one I need to hoard. I do, however, need to give the circle over to Alex. This is John's instance. Once all 3 members have their shapes, correct shapes, okay? We're going to go with, let me do this real quick. Once all 3 members have the correct shapes in the rooms, sorry, I'm just a little brain farting over here. Next step commences. What is next step? Next step is distribution. We're going to have Jim give his 2 triangles away to John and Alex, 1 each, 1 at a time. Do not pick up 2 at the same time, because then we'll make something different that will mess up the entire thing. So Jim goes to John's statue and gives him a triangle. John now has well, no, actually, no, let me just explain it a different way. That doesn't make too much sense. Okay, so then John now has a triangle. Now, like I said earlier, the 3 people are going to be doing this simultaneously. So the end goal is Jim gives the triangle to Alex, triangle to John. They both now have that extra triangle ready. And then Alex gives a circle to John and a circle to Jim. And then Jim has a circle. And then John has a circle. And finally, John gives Alex a circle. Square, sorry. And he gives Jim a square. End goal is to have each of the people inside have 1 of each shape. Okay, that's the end goal. Now, there are 2 ways to know which shapes you have, quote unquote, have in your room on the floor. I'm going to go through both of them. The first way is in the back of the room, where the knights are, behind where the knights spawn in, there is a big-ass wall, okay? Okay, I didn't even realize I can scroll up a little bit. It's a big wall with a big picture. The picture is going to change shapes from square to triangle to circle. It's just going to change, flash around. Now, whatever you see on this wall corresponds to the shapes that the knights you have in your room will drop. So the end goal is for John, Jim, and Alex, all 3 of them, is to see the next callout. They will see a like say for example, John The end goal for John would be to see a triangle flash, and then the triangle flashes into a circle. These are the two shapes John does not have, is not holding, and then he has all three shapes. Same applies to the other two people. Literally the same thing. Jim needs to have a square and a circle. Alex needs to have a square and a triangle. Now, once they have that, they have the, quote, keys to get outside of here. Let me do that with a brush, because I am dumb. They have what they need to get out of the glass window in the back of the room, aka to the normal realm. Back to the big room with the big stand with all the statues and everything. Now, this is the inside part. Throughout this, at some point, Sir Witnesserino can decide, you know what, screw you, I'm just gonna kill you. That's the ghost mechanic, but I'm making this video to explain the shapes mechanic, so I'm not gonna go over that. If you have any questions, feel free to message me, and we'll go over that. Now, let's go over what's going on outside. We know our call is TCS, right? Correct, right here. So we're gonna write that down up here for the outside people. This is the call that's gonna be in chat, and then somebody outside is gonna go, it's TCS, so T for triangle, sorry, TSC, I made it wrong, I'm fucking stupid again. TSC, whatever. T square circle, okay? Now we know this is the call out for outside people. What do the outside people do? Only one person needs to do this, not everybody. Needs to dissect the statues correctly. Now, what is the end goal of the outside, and why do you want to dissect? The reason for dissection is to match the shape that the guardian is holding outside to whatever shapes the person inside is holding on him. What does that mean? Say, I forgot the names already. Jim, John, and Alex. Okay, so say Jim is going to be ending up holding a square and a circle. He needs a shape that consists of a square and a circle. Now, when he picks these both up on the inside, they combine into, you guessed it, a cylinder. We don't like cylinders, but we're going to have to deal with them because it is what it is. Now, this shape over here is what the person doing the dissection outside needs to know. Needs to create. Now, how do you go about doing that? Say Jim has a sphere outside, which is I'm gonna make a double one, just a triple one, just to make sure you understand. This is like a sphere, so this is gonna be just a 3D sphere on the outside. That's what Jim is holding, and then let's say John is holding a pyramid-looking thing, which is technically another 3D shape, and then say I forgot the name again. Alex. Let's say Alex is holding a cone. Alright? Now making the two shapes as in what it consists of. What two shapes make that shape. Now, again, there will be two knights to kill on the outside. Each of them drops... No, sorry, there will be three knights for dissection team. Each of them drops one shape. Left knight will always be dropping a circle. Middle knight will always be dropping a triangle. And right knight will always be dropping a square. Now, what do we do with these? This is the tricky part for the section outside. Again, you can skip this entire thing and just not watch this. But if you want to understand the logic behind it like I understand it, which I'm probably wrong, but whatever. The goal is to create a shape for the person outside that consists of the other two shapes that he's not holding. Problem with that is you can only change the shapes between the three statues, between the three 3D shapes that the statues are holding. What does that mean? Let's say, well, let me add another one so it makes more sense. So let's say this consists of 2 triangles and 1 circle. This is 2 triangles and, hold on, I'll make it make more sense. I'm gonna make it work. This is gonna be a prism actually, and this is gonna be a cone, but it doesn't really matter. The point is the same. Let me get rid of this. It's gonna be consisting of 2 shapes. Now we need to match those 2 shapes that consist of the statue to whatever the person inside is not holding, aka whatever the callout is, aka triangle. So this, in theory, is good, but if one of these is not good, the other two, then we're going to have to take out the circle here and exchange it with something else, as long as it's not a triangle. Now, the way you do this is you pick up the buff from the knight that you need to take out, the shape you need to take out to exchange to a different shape. What does that mean? You pick up the circle, so say this one has a sphere, this one has a prism, this one has a cone. Cone consists of circle and triangle, meaning circle needs to get out of here. It needs to not be a cone, it needs to be literally anything else. In this case, it will need to be a prism that consists of square and triangle. So this will need to end up here, this will need to end up here, and this is technically okay, but I'm not going to go over this. Actually, no, this is okay. This is fine. That way, these two have statues that don't consist of whatever they're holding on the inside. Now, how do you go about that? You grab the circle. Whoever's doing this, you grab the circle. AKA, take the circle from the knight, and then you get the circle buff. What that will enable you to do is to grab the circle out of the 3D shape that whoever's circle callout is holding. Then you want to give it to the middle statue. So the middle statue will need to have a circle and triangle, aka cone, aka doesn't have a circle in it. Now after that, you want to go and pick up the square, and you want to, quote, take the square out of here and put it here. So the end goal is to have, let me delete these real quick. End goal here is to have the opposite of what I just draw. End goal is to have a square and a triangle here, making a prism, aka triangle, square, circle on the inside, meaning he has a shape that consists of something that he's not holding inside. And this one is going to have a triangle and a circle, aka cone. Luckily for Mr. Jim over here, Jim is in the clear because Jim has a sphere, and sphere does not contain triangle in it. Once all these 3 shapes are in position correctly, okay, dissection is officially done. Now, there is a way to know if dissection is good. There is an indicator in the game that I did notice running this a few times for outside room. This is still, this entire part of the explanation is outside room. What I noticed is, same big-ass wall in the back, the big wall with the big shapes, will be flashing shapes outside as well. Why do we care about the shapes outside? The end goal for the dissection people is if the wall is flashing in all 3 shapes, meaning it will flash between square, triangle, and circle, that will indicate that square, triangle, and circle, all 3 statues are complete, aka this section is done, aka the 3 people outside can chill until the people inside room do whatever they do. Once they get the keys, like I explained earlier in the video, when the dissection is complete, they can all leave the room and rejoin their teammates and go over the ghost mechanic, which I will not explain because I made this video to explain the shapes. I hope this wasn't too much. Thank you for watching. Any questions, feel free to DM me.